So welcome to another episode of Getting Real with Sabeeta and Mireille. And we have an amazing guest today. We're going to talk about, the impact of COVID on the fashion industry. And my co-host today is here. As you can see, she's just, so fashionable today. And I hope that, you're enjoying a new look because we are going to go places today. So my name is Mireille. I'm one of the hosts of the show. I'm based in Perth in Australia. I'm an entrepreneur and been, doing several things. I have another show called the Greatness Engineering Hour Show. I have a magazine. I'm an engineer by background, and I have created a lot focusing on women empowerment and particularly in science and technology. So that's me, and I have my co-host Sabeeta. Please, Sabeeta, up to you.
Thank you very much, Marie, and welcome, my dear friend Stacey, who I have known. Oh my God, if I tell everybody, we're going to give away our ages.
Yes.
So should we? But I've known both Stacey and Marie for quite some time, two amazing women. So it's an honor to be on this platform, sharing it with them. So yeah, welcome to this show where it's all about realness, addressing real issues, helping come up with solutions, and creating collaborative workspaces for all. I am Sabeeta. I just recently got my doctorate, so that's one of those things I'm really thankful for. I wish my father was here to share it with me, but I'm sure he's looking on in some one way or another. And I have to say, yesterday in America, we celebrated Thanksgiving. It was very low-key. It was not as big as it would have been, but we were still thankful for the gift of life. Despite the pandemic, we have to find little wins, those small wins to be thankful for. So I give thanks. I give thanks for the gift of friendship, knowing these two wonderful women, having you guys as guests, looking on at us, and hoping we can share some solutions for you. Now I'm going to invite Mrs. Stacey Weekes Benjamin. And I would like Stacey to tell us about who is Stacey, tell the world about Diane Carlton and why it's not Stacey Weekes Benjamin fashion, but Diane Carlton. Stacey, the show is yours. Welcome, my friend.
It's such a pleasure to be here with you two ladies. It's a pleasure to meet Mireille and, of course, Sabeeta. I've known you forever. As we say, lips are sealed with this just for us how long. So Diane Carlton is a Trinidad and Tobago based fashion label. We launched in 2018, June 2018. We actually launched in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And on the 5th of April 2019, we opened our first brick and mortar store. We have actually done quite a bit of travel. We've been invited to showcase the line in the US, in London, on the Africa Fashion Week. We have also shown in Germany. We've shown locally as well. And the ride has been a blessing. I am never risk adverse. I am an entrepreneur to my heart, but there is something about starting this. I think it's a passion project that scared me at the beginning. I felt like I love fashion. It is part of my DNA, but I was just not sure if anybody would care. And I think that happens when something is close to your skin, close to your heart. But since our launch, we have been blessed with a very brisk movement, a strong client base for a 2-year-old brand. We have really created a great and loyal client base. We've moved mountains, I feel. I have no employees except my production team because I really wanted, this is new for me, and I wanted to understand the business of fashion from all aspects so that by the time I bring someone in to help, I know what would be required of them. So I wanted to understand the full capacity of the business. And I have to say, it has been a ride. The effects of the pandemic has, as I said in my Facebook post, it has been a masterclass in survival for a new brand. We came out of a very bountiful Christmas and Carnival 2019, 2020, so Carnival in Trinidad was February this year, and we had an epic carnival season. We had women wearing our stuff. I was literally, my head was spinning, but it's a good problem to have when you're new in the business. And then bam, we headed into COVID, and I have to say it has been for me a lesson, a great lesson, and I feel like, it's always a great opportunity. When Sabeeta invited me, it's always a great opportunity to share, to bring minds together and exchange ideas. And so I am happy to be here and happy to just talk about and share some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that I guess I can advise on.
And just to ask you, obviously there have been a lot of disruption in a lot of industries. And I know that, the clothing industry is quite a big industry because we're talking billions here.
Yes.
So how do you think, it's been affected in terms of numbers, and what kind of pattern that you see, especially coming from the different customers as a result of what's happening right now?
So as far as numbers, for me, I got an instant drop in revenue by at least 40%.
Wow.
I expected it to be greater, really, I have to say, because I sell my clothes are, flowy dresses. It's really made for special events. So with all events coming to a screeching halt, I didn't expect that people would still be interested in purchasing. I forgot that my client base is women and we are resilient and retail therapy is a real thing, So, but as far as our local industry, we have had to learn to pivot by force. And I have to say that the fashion industry in Trinidad, we are still very vibrant. I'm seeing what I see on a general scale is survival. My customers are still purchasing. And what I found is that once we had our first lockdown, which began in March and went until the end of May, I found that my customers were saying, you know what, I can't go anywhere, but maybe this is my time to revamp my corporate wardrobe. So I have had to switch from making fancy dresses to, to go into a corporate wear and to create that and still take my aesthetic into that flow. So that was my experience. I have seen a lot of our artisans go into mask making. The minute that there was an announcement that of the face masks were not as available as we would like it to be, and there was a shortage, fabric mask making became a thing. I actually had a very close friend who wasn't even in the fashion industry. And the minute we went on lockdown and the news of the shortage of masks came, she actually now has a thriving business where she is supplying corporate government agencies with masks, and, seamstresses began using, when you create clothing, you always have excess of fabric. So you have your inventory that you didn't have to go out and buy. And that was a blessing because then the stores are closed. What happened is that you started to use your ends to make masks. So you were filling a need, and I've seen a lot of that. I have seen a lot of local artisans who, because we have such a vibrant space with upmarkets and so didn't need a website, we just moved into online. We've also had our local agency, our government agency that governs the fashion space, Fashion TT, has kept the industry alive by aiding and abetting in creating e-commerce platforms where we can come together for a small fee and have our stuff featured internationally. We have also had DHL. I think Shop Caribe is one of the premier ones in my head. They have partnered with DHL. And I mean, before, to send one dress, you would probably pay like $50 US to send a dress to the States. And now they have reduced it at least by 50%. So it has become, far more affordable. And it helps to fit into a business model where you have reduced sales, but you still want to stay alive. Fashion TT has on their social media, they have begun to feature both established and emerging fashion designers, so that now even I think COVID has opened my eyes to how many fashion local designers we have. you know, and we are now starting to do upmarkets, because our upmarket things, it's very seasonal and you could count on it. So now we're doing it virtually. I think we had our first few virtual runway events. Port of Spain Fashion Week is something that people look forward to at the Hilton. It was done virtually this year, and it has not in any way reduced the quality of the production. You know, so, and of course you have to take the safety measures into consideration, and that has been done. But I feel like it's still vibrant. Mireille and I were talking about how women just shop regardless of what. We feel like the shopping space is open. I have had the same experience. My customers are still ordering. You know, I feel like they're hoarding for when things get normal, and I'm thankful. And that's how we roll. And, you know, I guess for women, shopping, I tell Mireille, when go and get stuff, a woman gets shopping, because it makes us feel good, you know? So that's the feel good element of shopping. And especially if you know you're getting something beautiful, you know, it helps to quell our response to what is basically just mayhem in the world.
It's really therapeutic, isn't it, for us to, you know, as soon as we don't feel well-being, we go to the shop. And
Yes, exactly.
I just read a joke just before the show. A man saying, you know, you have to take your washed hands when you go to the supermarket or to the shops. It looks very romantic, but it's also economic, because then she can't shop. So
There's a method to the madness.
yeah.
They keep you on a control leash. Stacey, I want to go back to two really important things you said earlier. You talked about having to switch or transform your creative elements, moving from flowy designs into more corporate fashion wear. How did you transition into that move, number one? And number two, you talked about more people still shopping, the spirit continuing. Now, I have realized in the US, and we'll talk about that later, but people are shopping on discounted sites. Did you have to adjust your pricing in any way to meet consumer needs? Because we recognize that they have less disposable incomes. They may have been, their jobs maybe have been impacted by the pandemic. How can you address those two things? Thanks.
So, with regards to adjusting my aesthetic, you know what, Sabeeta, you know, life is what happens when you have other things planned. And for me, I didn't even have the time to have a choice. You know, we decided that I'm not going to fill the store with creations, that I was going to focus on my orders. And when the orders came, it meant that I needed to do the needful. And if people want stuff for work, I needed to dig deep and do what I needed to do creatively and come up with designs that would feel just as playful, just as fun, and that my customers will feel just as proud to wear. So I really can't tell you how. I just knew that, you know, when you're squeezed, you have to respond and flow. And that's what happened for me. You know, what I did, I think my third corporate customer, when I realized this is becoming a thing, I did a photo shoot, you know, to get the public feedback. And that's when it took off. So, you know, you have to relate to the customer virtually now. You know, previously I would, you know, tell my customers, come in and see what we have. But then now I have to present it. And thankfully, it has worked. It has kept me busy. And it has also allowed me to use the fabric that I had. I felt like it's not the time. I didn't feel like for me, it was the right time to you know, think of launching a new line. I felt I just had to respond to the customer needs. As far as my price point, fortunately for me, I've realized that my woman, the Diane Carlton woman, has not lost her income. You know, and even people who have not lost their income in these uncertain times, of course, we're still watching our dollar. So two things happened. Anything that I figured I've had in the store for a while, I had a sale. I reduced the cost of that. But the cost of production and stuff for new stuff remained the same. And my customers didn't have a problem paying for that, especially the fact that we create custom design and make to order stuff that's really mostly just one or two. So I didn't have to reduce the cost of my new stuff, but I did have to get creative with my pricing with the things that we would have had already.
All right. So we have few comments here. The house is filling up. So we have Florence, who is back in Pretoria in South Africa. She was stuck because of COVID in Burundi. We have Pat from Johannesburg in South Africa. She's enjoying the show, and she was one of her. This is one of her comment. When you have squeezed, you needed to respond, and how your response is it's imperative. That's fantastic. We have Lotus. Hey, Lotus. Great show. Thanks for this powerful discussion. Yes, that's a powerful discussion, especially for us women. We need to know. And hey, Mr. Unstoppable, we have Terence here, and nice to see you all. So really, a lot of, we have a few people really, wanted to know exactly what is the impact, because I think all of us, we are, we are impacted by what's happening in the fashion industry. And one thing that I mean, it's probably just an insight, is that what we don't know sometimes is that the fashion industry is a very polluting industry. I think it's like the third industry polluting, creating, issues in terms of pollution. So it's and I think it's probably a good thing what's happening right now, because it's actually helping to alleviate what's going on the climate change. But just to to continue on on our discussion, you obviously pivot. You made sure to pivot, you made sure to adapt. But what are the key opportunities that you've seen? I mean, you've started to talk about it already. Adapting to a new type of clientele. But what are the really key big opportunity that you've come across through this process?
Before COVID, I think with the internet, we began to say that the world is getting smaller. And I think COVID closed it in even more. So now we are even more interconnected, and we are able to reach now because people, this is the only space for us to communicate. So that people have, a lot of our local brands have been reaching, customers worldwide with our e-commerce platforms that have come on board, and with somebody literally focused on driving that on our behalf. They have been able to do the work, because when you are creative, a lot of times you're not so focused. You're not so strategic, because you're a creative inside a creative's head is a crazy space. You're thinking color, you're thinking it's whimsical, and of course there are many creatives who can do both. But to have that management, that strategic management of a process that is very trade centric for your brand, has helped and opened up the world to a lot of practitioners who would not have naturally been exposed in that way. I think for me, when the world stopped, I felt, first of all, the world has stopped, literally. And it's huge. And I think after you try to decode why, I think it taught me to learn the benefits of stillness and action. I felt for a time I needed to sit still. I needed to reevaluate. We had a year of travel planned. We had orders for weddings. We had orders for graduation already at the beginning of the year. And, it forced me to stop, to not just and focus on balance. It forced me to understand the importance of me to my business, because when you're running on that treadmill, you really you don't realize, you get lost. You're moved by everything around you. But it really caused me to stop, prioritize, to decide really, when something like this happened, what is my way forward? And how now do I navigate my way through this? How do I make my brand so unstoppable that a pandemic cannot stop me? And that opens up doors that would probably never have come to mind if things were going as usual.
And that's powerful. That's very powerful, because as you said, we were forced into it. And by the time we realize it's actually a good outcome. So really, a blessing in disguise. I don't know. I mean, do you have any comment on that, Sabeeta?
So I like the fact that you've used the word unstoppable. I'm sure Terrence Leffridge is listening in, so he would love that. Mr. Unstoppable himself. Stacey, I'm even though I've lived globally, I'm still Trini to my bone and Trini to my heart. One of the things I'd like to hear from you is what sets Trini fashion apart. I know fashion is very competitive. If Mireille were to start looking to diversify her look, what would you tell her about the Trinidad fashion uniqueness? What do we have that's different?
You know what I think about when I think about Trinidadian designers, when I go from the stalwarts, like Claudia Pegas and Heather Jones, and even to the new, we are so diverse in our application and in our skill set. The Trinidadian designer, and I think if we follow suit from the pioneers, the cloth and those kind of people, they are well traveled. So they understand fashion, not just from an island perspective, but from a global. And we have taken all of those elements and has just made it our own. So you can go into a local shop, a shop with, and you will see things that, I hear people say where my store is located, there's a hotel and it's heavily, visited by Europeans, and they kind of are shocked to see the shapes, and I guess they expect to come and find Hawaiian shirts and I don't know, but the use of fabric. We also have a very I would just say a wealth of access to beautiful fabric, to top of the line fabric. When I went to Germany and we did our show in London, the women were asking me, "You got this fabric in Trinidad? You have access to you ship you." We have fabric of, our fabric industry is blooming, and our designers are well informed, whether they are self-taught or they are schooled. There is a pride that we take in our sense of design, and a pride that we take in the knowledge of design that shows in our work. The diversity of styles. One designer can do so many different things, I guess everybody has their specialty, but sometimes you can't tell who's who because they're versed in almost every aspect of fashion. And I think it's why fashion is so alive in this country. It's why, as long as you manage your business right as a Trinidadian designer, you're almost bound to succeed. And I think that's our strong point: our diversity, our ability to really express ourselves and show the elements of our influence globally, in just one dress.
Okay, so let's, there's some more comments here. I have, a comment from Lotus, and then, talking about, what the internet have been able to do for a lot of, industry. And so we need to know how to ensure that we are marketing properly and leveraging what we already have. The internet helps us to reach, people globally. So we extend our reach, using the internet. And there's part as well saying diverse in application. I love it. And that's really what it's all about. So let's have a short break, and we'll be back and to continue this vibrant conversation about fashion and the impact that COVID had on fashion. And we are focusing a little bit more on Trinidad, obviously, because our guest is from there, but she's well traveled. So we're gonna continue later talking about our global experience and really. So please, make sure you participate and bring ask your question and tell us what you think. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Floating away, my feet left the ground when you came around. It's hard to explain I've been thinking I could not find. Hoping know something to change my mind. Yeah. You come amaze me, you come amaze me, baby. You come amaze me, you come amaze me, baby. And I know you've been broken, I've been broken too. But even in this crowd, it feels like just us two. I don't ever wanna leave this moment.
So we are back with Stacey and talking about fashion. That was the short break was about a fashion, a lady from Australia as well, from Perth. She's a hairdresser, but she's also into fashion. So that was just, a cuckoo for her to just, fit into the show. Her name is Joanne de Laval, so she will recognize herself. So Stacey, I mean, you basically, you are an international figure in fashion, and what I really want to know is how working globally have shaped what you're doing right now, and what have been the impact to the local market.
I have to say, I feel extremely blessed to have had the early international experience that I've had. By God's design, we launched in Minnesota, and even at our launch, I think it started with a bang. 4 months after our launch, once our pictures started to get out there, we were invited to show in Germany, and then we traveled to London to do Africa Fashion Week. I have to say, though, and I might be a bit biased, I have to say that Africa Fashion Week, I think, has been very, very influential on my growth. I think the level of professionalism that I experienced at Africa Fashion Week London, of professionalism and that the scale of the event and the pristine management of the process. And I'm not knocking island vibe. We are very laid back and we do brilliant things, but there's always that island feel to it. And so for me, because I'm in that learning process, I want to be kept on my feet in a sense where I feel like this is bigger than me. So now here I am, this new brand, but I don't want to feel and look new. So I felt that I was thrown into an uncontrolled environment where I still wanted to soar and shine. And I think that has helped me to connecting with people abroad and people with a different perspective has really caused me to raise the bar. I am naturally someone who's never satisfied with anything I do. I always feel it could be better. So, going into an international space pushed me in that direction. It is quite stressful, but again, it's a good problem to have because I like to be challenged in that way. But also, it did a lot to, I hear you say that I'm an internationally recognized, and that sounds so foreign to me because I still feel like I'm a kid in this industry. But once we got that level of exposure, the local customer responded in the positive. I guess people always feel, well, if, Germany loves it and if London loves it then this is something we need to see. And that's when the growth began. I didn't plan, our economy was not thriving even before COVID. And I felt like this is not a good economy through which to open a store. I think I would just do my delivery. But I tell you, the business was literally calling for a space because women would call and the first thing they would say, where do I come and see your design? And I can't just open my home to strangers.
Exactly.
So I felt, my husband said, listen, if you don't do this, you're going to miss your juncture. You need to open a store. And that's why, even when the economists are saying not a good time to start everybody shopping online, I didn't have that experience. People love to come to the store. I created a space that felt like a woman's dressing room. And, it's one of my challenges now with COVID because my customers like coming to the store. They want to be fitted. They want to be measured. And I have also come to realize that it's mostly West Indian women who have their inch tape. Most women, nobody else has an inch tape. Every self-respecting West Indian woman has an inch tape and can measure herself.
You know what it is, Stacey? It's the food we eat.
It's something. You know? So I found that it really and what it did for me, even before COVID, very early in the game, I had to understand the shipping. I had to understand shipping stuff abroad. And I have built quite a healthy African following from Africa Fashion Week. I have a lot of women from all over Africa who love my stuff, who are inviting me to come and showcase in Africa because they actually love my designs. And I felt very intimidated going into Africa Fashion Week because I didn't feel like my designs were naturally African inspired. I play with color and I didn't feel it was hardcore, but I thought I would go as myself. I would use the fabric in a way that I was comfortable. And I had people tell me, oh, this is an interesting mix. I wouldn't think of doing that. And it has given me quite a lot of design confidence. I have a ways to go. You know, I have a lot of growing to do, but I feel I started on a good foot. I'm happy that I got that external, exposure so early on.
So that is fantastic, Stacey. I did catch your African fashion show and I was so impressed. I was sharing it and shouting it out from the top of the world.
You're always sharing and shouting.
You have managed, what I liked about it is you still kept the essence of Caribbean with the African design. So you stayed true to who you are, and I love that. Well, I like the fact that you're still, identifying all the wins in COVID, which is messages people need to hear. Last week, I read an article by Harper's Bazaar. I'm sure you're familiar with the Harper's Bazaar magazine. And, I'm just looking at it and re-quoting it, where they said that the fashion industry is broken. Okay. Tell us, Stacey, how do you, what type of sustainable solutions and labor anxieties have you had to deal with? And if you haven't, how would you tell someone to work across those things, finding sustainable solutions? I know we talked about moving online, but what about labor anxieties and stuff like that?
The labor anxiety is plentiful. Just the doubt will do that. That heavy burden of doubt and not being, when you have a business, planning is a key part of it. And, when you can't do that, you want to stay as lean financially as possible. So you don't want to pour too much money into production. And, it's so much to manage. I have to say, one of the solutions that I am seeing is collaboration. It helps if we can share the cost and if we have something in common that we can come together and, not just share the cost, but share the burden of the anxieties that we are all experiencing. And that exchange helps. The collaboration helps. I feel we have a lot of fallout as far as the retail, not so much they make to order custom, but there are a lot of retail stores. I haven't been to one of our largest mall, Trin City Mall, but I've heard that it's like a ghost town. So many of the retail stores have had to close because a mall rent is exorbitant. And to have to endure that for 6 months at a time, without anything coming in, it must be strenuous. And to be honest, Sabeeta, on that scale, because my business is very manageable and still small, I guess online will be, give online a shot. And I have noticed that even though locally, I think before we were not an online savvy, especially to buy stuff locally. Why I can't just come visit you? But now everybody's busier. People are now watching their one-on-one interaction. So I see my girls ordering stuff online and it's showing up at the house. We actually have some agencies that are using the car rental industry who have these vehicles sitting there. They're partnering with them as now putting drivers on the road to deliver stuff to customers. So you have to get innovative. You have to reimagine your business and your approach to business. You have to collaboration is key, because that to me, that is quite an innovative collaborative effort. Here you have all these vehicles. I have all this product. I alone can't go through the country and deliver on a daily basis. Let's partner. Let's get some drivers in these cars so you can make some money, I can make some money. And that is working, my advice would really be to something that I see Fashion TT doing. They're creating platforms where we can also exchange ideas. The government, the trade and industry ministry, they've been doing many webinars, that gives spreads the information around and gives a mold and a model for us to follow so that we become more savvy in that regard. And I think, that would be my thing. You have to stay in a space where you're getting information, and you have to also be able to process that information and turn it into action.
That's very powerful, and and that's a mindset shift, basically.
It is.
Exactly that. We have to go through when we are into those kind of situation and challenging situation, and if we do this shift, things start to happen. Things start to work, and I love the fact that you're stressing out that collaboration is key. And people should see, try to do a audit of their business or whatever, how they do their business, and find the people that are going to complement and help them, and with who they can partner, so that they can create a win-win situation, or instead of them losing everything. And that's a key one that we need to push here. And I hope everybody listening, or any entrepreneur out there, understand that. Try to find those partners, those people that you can collaborate with,
like-minded people that you can collaborate,
like-minded people that you can work with, instead of trying to sort out a problem or sitting on your challenges alone. Because then there's no way that you can you can actually fight in this very disruptive situation. So just to to understand a little bit more, have you been able, because from what you're saying, it looks like you've been able to scale up your business, and so can you tell us a little bit more about it? And you've obviously mentioned few strategies, but just to understand, the process, what you've been, you had to change internally, and who you had to connect with, and how did you scale? Which country did you reach, and how easy was it?
So one of the things I've had to do, I have had to adjust my hours. I have had to adjust, the way I meet customers, because, you believe it or not, my local customers still want to come to the store and look around and try and fit, and I want to give them that. So when the lockdown was at its tightest, we couldn't do that. So you would find that my customers who've already been fitted by me, they were comfortable ordering, and the more I do this, I too have become quite good at looking at a woman and being able to tell her size. So I have gone, taken the risk of making something for a woman and say, let's do a FaceTime, let me get a look at you. And that has worked. So now we do appointments, meeting by appointments. I have had to use, so before, I have certain people in the US. I have a heavy New York based clientele, and my people they travel a lot. So of course, the Caribbean, we know how to get around that. So when somebody has traveled, they would take my stuff out and they ship it there for me. That way it gets there faster. Now I've had to use DHL. I started on a business account with DHL. So I have reduced rates and I don't have to pay up front. So I get to manage that easier. It's more cost effective for me. My processes with regards to my advertising. Now something that happens with me that people may not understand, but I tell you, Diane Carlton has a mind of her own. She's her own woman. And there are times when, and it has worked for me, two things I do that are different. I don't use traditional models to put my pictures out there, even on my website. I use my customers. My customers feel so beautiful in their designs that they send me pictures. And that's what I have on my website, so that I show the world that this is not for the model, this is for every woman. We have been able to not just attract, but to also maintain a really, it has been prosperous for our company, a really prosperous, ample girl client base, where we cater for plus size women. We create dresses for a woman of every size. And when they send me those pictures and I put them up, it's like a flood. I have to prepare myself for that. So I have reduced the cost of photo shoots and stuff, and now encourage my customers, send me your pics so that we use the real time, and that sends a different message. As far as I can't remember the rest of the question.
The rest of the question is, where did you expand, through the process?
Where did I expand?
Mm-hmm.
I think it has just, I think for me, business, it's not business as usual. And I'm not doing, my bottom line is not the same as it was, but I feel solid. I feel that I'm surviving the process. I'm not worried about the future. I see the thing about it is that you want to know that in the time of a crisis, you're still, I feel like I'm still an essential service amongst my customers. I have not lost customers. I have had a few new customers who have seen things, and I guess those customers who may not have had the online time, they're now surfing more. So I have actually had almost a 20% increase in my customer base of new customers since then, and I think that for me is powerful. Everything can't be measured by a bottom line. I feel that staying power to me really meant a lot.
So, Stacey, I like that you talked about staying power. Here's my challenge. I am a tangible shopper. So I love to feel fashion. I love to feel fabrics. I like to see it on me. So for me, it's a cultural mind shift to move into that online shopping. Now we've addressed, the business perspective, but how would you walk a customer to navigate past those cultural blockages of moving from being that tangible shopper to a virtual shopper? What are some of the tips that we need to know? Especially me, I need to feel it and fall in love with it, right?
Yes.
How do I do that in the online space?
So can I tell you that for me as well? You sound like me. So I have gotten used to selling as I buy, because I need to feel it. I need to try it. I want to see, I'm conscious about certain parts of my body, so I want to see how it falls there, So two things I've done. When I have a local customer who feels like you, and because I'm good with people, I remove the stress, because they're coming to me thinking that I wouldn't want to meet with them. So I remove that by putting her at ease and saying, listen, we can make this happen. We have all our safety measures at the store. I have a small space, so I'm not encouraging more than one person at a time. We do our hand sanitizing, our temperature checks, and so I remove that, so she feels, so I can still show up. Of course, we have to be individually responsible. So of course we do the talk about whether you have been exposed and that kind of thing. So that happens. As far as the customers who are bent on the virtual, it gives us a time. I kind of talk to women about this. Gives you a time to connect with your body. I can't do this without measurements. And when a woman wants something bad enough, she does what she needs to do to get it. So when I get that call in COVID that, I must have this dress, I can't give you this fit unless I have some dimensions. How do we get that done? I have had women say, you know what, I'm going to go by my neighbor down the block and I'll FaceTime you from there. And I'm going to get her my measurements. I send them a chart, and we have been able to work it out. And that kind of connection is so much. That's another thing that I realize that my customers love. The fact that they can reach me. The fact that she and I can talk, here I am creating something special for you. So, but first we're building a special bond. Now, if my website is shutting down because I have so many orders, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to put things in place for that. But in this space and in this time, based on where my business is and where I see my business going and how I want the process to go, it has worked for me. Someone on a larger scale, I think I see a lot of websites now, they have changed the way they present their measurement charts. They've given you more 3D effects, and sometimes what I would do, I would send a video of fabric, because if a picture doesn't tell all the stories. Sometimes you need to see what happens when I pull it. You need to see it flow. So all of those things, I'm currently updating my website to cater for that end, especially for the customers who are outside of Trinidad. But generally, I find that some women actually tell me they're flattered that I would take the call and that we'll talk one-on-one, and it's not just some robotic system where they press a button and send a cart, and and that for me is purposeful, because I want to know who my customers are to the core. That's just how I do business.
And it's about the experience as well, because
Exactly.
because you there's so many shops, and so you go for the experience, you go for how the person make you feel, and how comfortable you are. So that's a key one, especially in such a difficult and challenging environment. It's really about, okay, where do I go to feel good, to feel okay, and to really enjoy, the experience. So that's been. So we're gonna have another break, and we'll come back for the last part of the show. And for those who are just joining us, our guest today is Stacey Weekes Benjamin. She's based in Trinidad and Tobago, and she's a fashion expert. And as you can,
ladies are gassing me up today, honey.
So stay tuned. We will be back. And if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask the question for the tax and give your insight as well.
Gimski is about hope. Gimski is about, expressing yourself, bringing your gift, stepping into your greatness.
Gimski is about connecting people all over the world.
Gimski is right there. They're right there to serve you and give you all the room and the space that you need and you want to be your unique, dynamic self.
We are also a community, and that's really what we bring into your house.
Gimski is about giving people the opportunity to share their dreams, share their stories, their knowledge, and their experience.
I believe in Gimski because it is a game changer. It provides an opportunity for individuals to share their unique skills and talents that may otherwise lay hidden from the rest of the world.
Gimski is telling stories.
So we are about inclusion, we are about diversity, we are about giving the voice to the voiceless.
Gimski is about connecting from heart to heart.
Gimski is love.
Gimski is where you can have so much fun. You can act crazy if you want to, woohoo! You can be as silly as you want to, hey! Or you can be your glamorous, fabulous self.
We have different services that's actually going to be able to give you this voice to help you to stay authentic.
Gimski is about creating opportunities for the unseen and the unheard.
It embraces the diversity of the human race and yet encourages collaboration amongst all towards achieving the full purpose of our lives.
Gimski is us.
So Gimski is a community where you can interact with people from different backgrounds and where you can express yourself freely, a very safe platform where we don't judge you.
Gimski is about living your dreams.
I believe in Gimski, and I believe in encouraging each and every person to find and use their voice towards making this world a better place.
Gimski is connection. Gimski is showing the world who you are. Gimski is fun. Gimski is equality.
Gimski cares about the environment, the animals, and everything that represents love.
Gimski TV is about showcasing the Eden talent and make sure that they have a platform where they can have a voice, where they can showcase their gifts.
Gimski is about having no limits.
Gimski is colorful. Gimski is about diversity.
Gimski believes in the fact that you are unique and you should always be your unique self. Stay connected with loved ones and friends. That's Gimski. And Gimski is always there to serve you.
Gimski is for you. It's for me. It's for us.
we want your greatness. So make sure you bring your greatness, you bring your gift to us, and we will work together to make the world a better place. Thank you.
So we
Hey,
are
Marie.
back.
Marie, I'm gonna flip the switch on you now.
Yes.
Tell us about Gimski, and in particular, Stacey's talking about how the fashion industry in Trinidad, which I give kudos for and recognize and salute all the great work they've done to manage to keep local fashion designers buoyant and keeping their heads above water. What is Gimski, and how can someone in the fashion industry in Trinidad that's listening to Stacey's show understand whether Gimski is something that can help them collaborate and promote to fashion designers elsewhere?
So Gimski is a multi-media company and communication as well. And what I love, the meaning of Gimski is the greatness in me, see the greatness in you. So we are basically targeting people who have talents and people who want to share this talent. And what we're trying to do, because there are so many platforms around, we're trying to bring them a cost-effective platform, but also make sure that people who actually use Gimski can also make money. So there's an affiliate program attached to it. And there are different products. There's the Gimski Connect, which is more about video call and conferencing. And I think that's what Stacey can use if she wants to communicate with her clients, or if she wants to do a show, show all the design that she's doing, and really, have this connection with, the clients and any other, third party around the world. So that's the Gimski Connect, which is live now, and we're having a free trials until the 15th of December, where it's going to go live, and then you can get, membership. Then there's the other part, which is the Gimski TV. So TV is really about anybody who has, a talent, somebody that have maybe it does, a documentary, or have, a certain event that they want to keep. So they have a space there. They can sell, those videos, or those, or song, or whatever they have as talent, and also make money, because when people are going to click on their videos, on every material content that they're going to have, they will be able to make money as well. So that's also a good way for them to make money. And then there's going to have a community aspect as well, which is a little bit more like Facebook and things like that, which is coming next year. And we're also going to have the workshop part, which is more about people who do training, who want to share their knowledge, like Udemy or any other platform where you can, do workshop, train people. So those are the key aspect of Gimski. And it's actually, we had to shift as well our mindset to really bring those projects, with people now getting more and more online. And a lot of them, are going to continue to be online. And there's a gap actually right now, because Zoom and the other big, corporation in this space are actually at full capacity, so they can't take, anymore. So we're basically coming and filling this gap, and trying to and targeting people who actually don't have a voice, who could not afford Zoom, or could not, go onto another platform, and we're giving the platform to them. So for the fashion industry, I think all the key aspects are there. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to sell, you can connect with Gimski Connect. If you want to show, again, your models and sell as well, you can put on TV, and at the same time you also make money. And there's also if you want to create a community, a particular community for your fashion brand, and you can use the rest, the other part of Gimski, which is the community. And if you want to train, graduates, you can also use the workshop part as well. So really excited about the product, and yeah, we will be live in few days. Yeah.
So Mireille, I'm hearing Fashion Academy training. I'm hearing connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the global community on Gimski.
Mm-hmm.
How, and I see key benefits to all of us in terms of getting into that collaborative space of like-mindedness. And earlier on, Stacey, you and I were talking, and I mentioned to her that Gabon may have fantastic fabrics and she could probably tap into it. So I think, this is really key. Having that one place where buyers and sellers can meet, like-minded people can meet. It's creating a virtual market space, which is great. But I'm definitely going to look into Gimski as well, because for me, I am big on education. I'm designing a couple leadership and training programs, and I don't know if Stacey does anything in that space, but I see something in Gimski that will definitely be very attractive to me. The learning management portal, the fact that it can do what Udemy can do, I think that's great in terms of reach. Stacey, what are your thoughts on something like this for the fashion industry in Trinidad, and just general collaborative spaces in Trinidad?
Yes, again, because the virtual space is really where it's at, so to speak. I see, even going through my Instagram, I look at the people that I follow, local designers, communicating on that in that manner. A lot more videos, walking into your store, showing people what you've done, showing people styling a mannequin, styling a model, so people, we are all using more of that virtual reach. We are all in that space where we want to just not send a pic and smile. We want to give people that live feed, and something like Gimski could definitely work. I know, I think, as far as the training space as well, that's also a thing. Here the lockdown is sort of eased up, so people are back on the move. But in that space where everybody had time, people were just looking for ways that they could stay edified, stay empowered, looking for videos. I attended so many seminars, so many training on things that I wanted to get stronger at, that I would not have naturally had time to do. So that, and then there's so many people who are good at in different areas, who are now prone to share their knowledge, and I think that's a platform that they can all use.
Fantastic.
Especially if it's cost effective.
And it's cost effective, and what we also do is that any material that you put there is yours. You can,
fantastic.
If you decide to leave, you take everything. It's not it's not our property. It's yours. It's there, and then you basically have control on everything. So
fantastic.
That's
Mireille, I like the fact that the copyright is definitely yours. But what about portability across different social media? Is Gimski connecting across different social media, so it's easy to share stuff and you don't have to recreate?
It's still being worked out to be able to share on other social media, because as you can see, we really want to favor our community, so have things shared in our community. So we're still working on that, hopefully, because there's billion people on Facebook, same on LinkedIn and things like that. So you still want to have access to those platforms, even if you have your own community. So that's something that should come next year as well, as part of the product that we're gonna launch. Yeah.
So I like the fact that you said you have your own community. So Stacey, it's almost like having your own store in Gimski.
Exactly.
In Facebook, you don't have that.
No.
In Instagram, you don't have that. So I like that feature as well, Mireille. So definitely three things I'm seeing that And it's funny because last night I reached out to Marie and I said, I've been busy, but I definitely have to have a look at that. So now that we got in front of each other, I think I really understand it.
Exactly. So, so Connect is, is available. So that's the one available. And then early next year, January, February, we're gonna have online TV as well. Is there, but it's still free. But we're gonna start, monetizing the monetizing process, especially for the customers in January, February next year. And then the community part with the internet and things like that will come as well later on. So really exciting because it's the good thing is that it's an all-woman project. So women are leading in this project.
Lovely.
So that's just
Fantastic.
women empowerment.
Yes.
And women of not young women, because in IT and communication you would expect to have those young people and nerdy type of thing. No, those are mature women over 40.
Girl, what you talking about? 40 is the new 25. Come on, girl.
I hope I didn't offend you. But,
I'm just teasing you.
So we're not done after 40. We're not done. So
no, that's when life happens.
Done, honey. It has just begun.
So Trinidad and Tobago, if you want to know more about Gimski, Marie's details are on everything Stacey and I have shared. Please reach out to her. And the rest of the world, if you want to know about Stacey, you can connect her here. Stacey, do you want to showcase anything, any of your designs? Do you have anything close by you want to share?
Oh gosh, you know that I am technologically challenged. Here we go.
So this is you have a sample of what she can do. I mean, there's a variety of shape, and that's really beautiful. And I assume these are your contacts.
Yes, my contact is there.
Okay, so fantastic. The email and then the website. So anybody wanted to reach out, please do. And she's doing some fantastic things. So don't miss out. Definitely. So
exactly. Just one more question I wanted to ask Stacey. Someone just messaged me. What is the lead times from placing an order to getting your stuff overseas, not in Trinidad?
So our production time, we say 10 to 7 days. 10 to 7 days, simply because we want 7 to 10 days, because we want to be safe. If you message us during a time like Carnival when we're extremely busy, chances are the production can happen in 10 days. But as we stand, 5 days really. 5 days is really what we need for production and shipping. The shipping, though, the process, depending on where you are, I can't say how long it takes from Trinidad. We notify you when it has left, and usually it's between 3 and 5 working days to ship. So in all, I say 15 days if we're going outside of the US. 15 days from the date of your order. For it first to manufacture and have it delivered to you.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Excellent. Well, don't be surprised if you see a few orders from Malaysia, because some of my friends just messaged me. They're going to be looking at your website.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure in Africa as well. I mean, because there's some similarity as well. So
yes, we were supposed to be going to Africa this
collaboration.
Collaboration. In our plans, 2020 plans, we planned on showing in Africa this week. We got an invitation that we accepted, but 2020 has a mind of her own too.
Well, you know what?
Australia,
you actually are. You're actually in Africa right now. I see some South Africans tune in and stuff like that. So you still managed to make that goal. Eventually,
you managed to show up.
Yeah, and I think as well with the design that you use, even our indigenous, brothers and sisters here would love it as well, using their,
Fantastic. I think so.
can use their.
Can I tell you, I am so blown away and my heart was warmed by the response from Africans with regards to my designs. I feel a natural connection, and I felt very, very inspired by that.
Fantastic. Any news, Sabeeta, that we should know about this month?
Well, absolutely. So 2 days ago, and I shared it across my platforms, I had the opportunity to be featured in a show that talked about the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And we as women, we need to support initiatives like this.
Yes, we do.
Let me start again. Intimate personal violence is the most common form of violence, where you're in an abusive relationship, you're too ashamed to be heard, so you conceal it. So there's a lot of mental trauma, and this is us saying, hey, this has to stop.
It does.
We need to look for those signs. Our girlfriends being manipulated. What are their dreams being contained? Are they not living their full potential? And we need to help. But it's not just women. I think we need. It's a wider community. So that entire, and it was something that was promoted by the World Health Organization. It was a global push. I managed to get a few articles in a couple of the magazines I write for globally. And, the more we can shout about it is the more awareness we can bring and the more women we can help. Because it's important that we end all these things, and it starts with us. So that's the one thing I think that's really important for me, and the one thing that was very, very, very meaningful in terms of what I've done this month. It was Thanksgiving. I think we're all looking forward to ending 2020 because it's just been a lot of loss and pain. We're moving into December. I see, in America, people go big in terms of dressing up their homes here, just driving on the streets and seeing the lights. I think it does something for you emotionally. You feel happier. You lit up. So for me, I think I'm seeing some signs of hope as we move forward. But again, we have to keep pushing positive messages. We have to keep our mind in the game. So let's try and be the change we want to see in the world, Mireille. That's what I want to share. I don't know what about if Stacey or Mireille wants to add anything.
No, I think that's the most important thing of the month. And what I really wanted to add is, like you said, we're going toward the end of the year. It's time to start planning for next year, and really, learn from all the lessons that we've got this year. I mean, we've got so many, and we need to get, learn from this and come out, a better person, and come out and go to the next level of our greatness. Because, even if it's been very challenging, we always, come victorious out of it. And we have to, that's the mindset that we need to have, and start, the year on a high note, and very hopeful that it's going to be better for all of us. So that's really what I wanted to say. But before we leave, we want, your last word for the audience. Stacey, any particular message that you want to leave us with?
For me, this year has, my husband says he's not going to partake in anyone bad mouth in 2020, because in many ways it has also been good. So, we've all had memes and we all say, oh boy, this 2020, But I think one of the things that I have learned, again, when you're pushed against a wall, sometimes your ability to respond comes from a divine place. And for me, that stillness has caused me to correlate my success in every area to my spiritual foundation, to my faith foundation. We have lost control. We are no longer in control. We are planners and we all like to feel that we are navigating our own space, but we're not. And I have found myself in a space where I literally have been able to regroup, reimagine my spiritual life. The days are slower, it's not as demanding because the world is not as, not the same. So I get to start my day right. I get to pray. I get to, the decisions that have been out of my control, I am now left with nothing but my faith in God, so that, listen, God is in control, not me. It has caused me to get that level of grounding. And I feel that, like I say, you can't always measure success by how much you've earned. Sometimes it's your personal and spiritual development, your growth in other areas that really puts you in a place to plummet from where, sorry, not even plummet, to expand from where you are. And that has been my thing. When I didn't know what to do, I leaned on my faith. Both my husband and I are in business for ourselves. So COVID was a scary possibility. A pandemic that shut down the world was scary for us. And by God's grace, we have been able to sustain both our businesses. The challenges are plentiful. But when you start from a point of trusting for me, I hate to sound preachy, but from trusting in the God that you serve, it puts you at a peace that allows you. It's why I said, when I was put against, I can't give you any formula that I use. I just found myself responding in the right way, thank God.
Exactly.
We have so much on our plate. We have to consider our spiritual health, our mental health, our physical health. Most of us are educating our children ourselves now because they're at home. And we have to be strong, not just to be successful at business, but we have to be strong to keep our children safe, to keep them feeling hopeful about life. Sometimes it saddens my heart to think, what kind of future would my children and grandchildren have in this world when we don't even know what will, what will happen at the end of the year.
Exactly. Next week.
Exactly. The level of doubt could be debilitating to us and to our mental health. And one of the things that I find that I have had to do, I have become not just COVID fatigue, but social media fatigue, because the noise, and in business, it sounds odd, but every now and again, I take a purge. I literally take a social media purge because I need to regroup. I need to get into my head, hear my thoughts, evaluate what I feel. And that's just me, but whatever works for you, I think we need to become more proactive with our wholeness and, our health on all aspects, so that we could stay resilient as we move forward and move through this space.
And we have Pat here saying, Stacey and Sabeeta, I love your vibrant energy and passion. Do you believe someone who is more introverted can crack into this industry? And that's going to be the last question for you.
Can I tell you, when an introvert comes into a creative space, the mystery around that person, that alone is a draw. That alone, the creative space it conforms to whoever is controlling it. And an introvert brings a certain mystique that I think people love. Everybody's assuming who you are. And that creates a buzz in itself. Of course, if the work that you produce is phenomenal, then you're in a good space.
Fantastic.
And just to add, just 1 second, just to add to what Stacey says, Pat, one of the things about introverts, I know, stepping in front of the camera or in front of the public is difficult, but you get to step behind your design. So your design showcases who you are. So I think introverts can actually do really well in that creative space of design.
Yes.
Fantastic. And I hope, your question has been addressed, Pat. Thanks for, tuning in and being, staying all along. And it's been, like you said, vibrant. It's been full of information, full of energy. Thank you so much, Stacey.
My pleasure.
All of this.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Add one thing. I wanted to say today, my line is named Diane Carlton after my aunt and my dad. They are both two of them together are really my primary fashion inspiration, and today is Diane Carlton's birthday. She's celebrating her birthday, and I know she'll be watching, when we post it. So I just wanted to wish her the very happiest of birthday. She has terribly influenced me when it comes to fashion.
Okay, happy birthday, and enjoy your special day. That's fantastic. So thank you to everyone again, and we will be back next month, probably before end of the year, close to the end of the year. So
We
we're
got
gonna
to do
bring
our
you
December roundup.
Yeah.
exactly. So we will bring you somebody vibrant again, and somebody who can share, you know, some exceptional knowledge with us before we cross into the new year. So
Thank you for
thank you
having me,
very
ladies.
much.
This
Thank
was
you guys. And
phenomenal.
you know, I just want to say to the audience, you know, Mireille and I promise to always be real with you guys, and we address real topics, and we're committed to helping you guys stay real and get through whatever
Exactly.
you're doing. If you have any ideas, if there's anything we're missing, please let us know, because we do want to ensure that we are fulfilling our promises to you.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a
Congratulations,
great weekend,
ladies.
everybody.
Thank you
And
guys.
take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.